So we've been investigating the labels that we've seen on screen from Chateau Picard to figure out what he was making at his winery, which we know is in Le Bar, France, even though Paramount seems to be trying to gaslight us into thinking it's in Bordeaux. So now that we're all experts on Burgundy and Bordeaux, and yes, I am flirting with you, let's take another look at the show's prop label. Okay, Bourgogne-Franche-Comté. So this is a made-up wine region. It should be Franche-Comté IGP. You'll see that they added Appellation La Barre Contrôlée at the bottom, but again, if we're going by contemporary wine regions, that shouldn't exist. But it's 300 years or so from now in Picard's time, and I still accidentally dead-named Bombay. Wait, no, shit, don't put... So saying it's from Bourgogne-Franche-Comté is basically saying it could come from anywhere in the Franche-Comté departement, which is not helpful. It could basically be from anywhere in this big-ass quadrangle, which includes Chablis, Burgundy, Jura, and yes, Le Bar. Does this make it a Burgundy? Not in a meaningful sense. It's more like saying this wine came from a place in the same county, but with none of the same regulated pedigree or characteristics. It's like saying you're from New York when you're really from Buffalo. It's name association, clout chasing. Okay, what else do we got here? Grand Cru Classé. Okay, so this is another made-up thing transported from Bordeaux. Basically, in Saint-Emilion on the right bank, Grand Cru Classé exists as a designation to differentiate between the regional label of Grand Cru and the actual tested and certified rank of quality that is Grand Cru Classé. Again, we're in the future and maybe it's changed a little. Wine classifications in France do famously change at a glacial pace, but there might be some minor adjustments in 300 years, 30 of which were literally World War III, so who knows? I'll give it to him. Okay, so on this other prop bottle, we see a lot of the same labels, but we also have Mise en Beauté au Chateau. Okay, so this basically means that Jean-Luc controlled every aspect of production on this bottling, from harvesting to fermentation onto bottling itself. So he's not acting as a negotiant and bottling wine or fermenting grapes he's purchased, but he's working with fruit that he actually owns on his own estate. He's also here corrected the shape of the bottle to be more in line with the sleek slope typical of Burgundy. So quick aside on bottle shapes. The shape of your wine bottle is usually tied to the type of wine within and the region in which it's produced. So looking at the two prop bottles used for Chateau Picard, we see two conflicting stories. Let's look at the first bottle, which is definitively a Bordeaux shape. Bottles from Bordeaux typically have this very rigid, rectangular shape with no slope on the neck, and really guys, I just don't swing that way. Burgundy bottles, like what we see on the second prop bottle, are just fucking sexy. They got this like sloping neck thing going on. You just kind of want to like give them a little smooch. Now, since Picard is near Jura, and it's possible he's making yellow wines, I also have to point out the Clavelin. The trademark 620 milliliter bottle shape for Vengeance that was illegal in the USA before January of 2025. It's squat, but broad. You just want to be carried in its arms and laid down in a field of flowers while it caresses your neck and whispers sweet nothings in your ear. Sorry, I just really love bottle shapes. And when we're talking about bottle shapes, I mean, the Flute d'Alsace is just begging for it. And if you enjoy bottles of wine as much as we do here at Starfleet Somm, hit us up in the comment section and tell us about your favorite bottle shape and how it feels when it goes inside you. Vendage allemand. Okay, so this is cool. So this means that Picard is doing hand harvesting. I mean, we all knew Picard was into hand stuff. This is probably where the majority of the cost of his wine comes from. When you can hire humans to manually pick and sort wine grapes, choosing to pick berries that are optimally ripe, you produce better wine, flat out. You also produce a huge payroll.
Wait, why would they do any hand harvesting when they live in an era of transporters? Couldn't they just teleport the grapes right into the factory?
Yeah, they could. And there actually are a lot of companies today that do machine harvesting. Larger houses like Yellowtail or Franzia actually use machine harvesting to kind of bulk batch harvest grapes. And the problem with that is that they have a tendency to pull a lot of debris, animals, grapes, berries that aren't quite ripe yet into the mix as well. There are some countries, Australia, that don't quite have the labor source to be able to do manual harvesting by hand, so they rely on machine harvesting. They also rely on a lot of tricks like chaptalization or acidification, where you're artificially bumping up the acidity or the alcohol in order to bring balance to the wine because the crop isn't quite in balance because it's so hot in Australia. Again, Australia, God bless you for the wine you have. You should, historically speaking, high-end wines are more of a story, and elements like hand harvesting don't only increase their quality and their price, but also their mystique. You even have growers like Chateau in Sauternes who will refuse to produce wine from inferior crops on their vineyards in some years where conditions just weren't quite right. They'll also do like 11 passes plus in the vineyard to pick grapes at optimal ripeness because they're nerds with way too much time on their hands. So we have to ask ourselves, what story is Picard trying to tell us with his wine?
The annual bottle of sour mead.
Sour mead?
It is quite tart, sir.
To my anniversary dinner on Rigel.
A Chateau Picard Bordeaux, which you said was too dry because your taste in wine is pedestrian at best.
Okay, sour mead, dry and pedestrian. Okay, I think I've heard enough. It's time to render my final judgment on Chateau Picard and all of humanity throughout time and space.
Silence!
So, if you want to drink like Jean-Luc, what should you be reaching for at your local food replicator and bottle shop? Earl Grey. Hot. Duh. Ignore the Bordeaux tie-in wine. That's just the Ferengis at Paramount trying to eke out as much profit as they can out of this. There's no actual justification for that. Picard, mon capitaine, is making Burgundy. More specifically, a style blending the traditions of Jura and the Côte d'Or slope together. Pinot Noir, Trousseau, Chardonnay, Savagnin. I think von Jean-Luc Picard is just good marketing. So if he's not making yellow wine, he's not worthy of Starfleet. And you can quote me on that. Come at me in the comments section. Except one small problem. The label from TNG Season 4, Episode 1. The first time Chateau Picard is ever depicted on screen. So, if you're ready to see a grown man cry, keep following along as I throw everything out the window and do battle with my greatest enemy. 90s graphic design. My second greatest enemy? People who don't like and subscribe. So get on that. My third greatest enemy? Leaf blowers. They're annoying and bad for your health. And they don't actually clean anything. If we could drink leaf blowers, I'd do a whole episode on it. But we do not have the technology. Yet.